Chinese is a language of metaphor. Where English uses one metaphor, Chinese will use two. Where English has no metaphors, Chinese will still use two. With that in mind, allow me to offer one extremely extended metaphor for some of my experiences in China. Coming to live in China is in many ways best expressed through comparisons with my first year at Stanford, now almost 10 years ago. Some of the comparisons are obvious. Growing up in New Jersey, my parents wondered why I had to go so far away. When I got here, I was never really sure what I was eating, kind of like going to some of the dining halls on campus. My first album of pictures from Stanford is full of things like Hoover Tower and happy-looking students frolicking on the quad. Here in China, I took pictures of Chinese temples and people ignoring traffic. After 2 weeks in either place, you get so used to these things, you forget they might be unique. But mostly, I came to learn as much as I could. Here, I was focused on Chinese society and economic policy. And it was really exciting, but also pretty overwhelming. I was a freshman all over again, walking through the activities fair, just with 1.4 billion classmates. This time, however, I had some experience on my side. I wasn't going to make all of the many mistakes I made my first year. I was going to skip right past that and dive directly into understanding China and hopefully doing some groundbreaking research on economic and social policy. About halfway through my first year, I decided things were going a little bit slowly. A friend and current PhD student invited me to sit in on a class about Chinese society, taught, of course, in Chinese. I thought this was a great way to perhaps kill two birds with one stone, which of course itself is a Chinese idiom. I could learn more Chinese, and I could learn about Chinese society at the same time. The professor was confused but welcoming, which describes about 99% of the interactions I have in China. He spoke clearly and directly, and every few minutes he would look over at me to make sure that I was following along. I would look back at him and nod or give a thumbs up to let him know that I was doing okay. After the 4-hour lecture, my friend looked over at me and asked what I thought. I said, it was really good, except I still have a couple questions. Once I asked the first question, he looked at me and said, that was the whole point of the lecture. You really didn't understand any of it, did you? I assured him that, of course, I had understood everything, because I wanted to save face. But I really knew that he was right. I had neither learned more Chinese nor learned more about Chinese society. I'd only learned that still, at times, I could be a little bit stupid. In his seminal work, From the Soil, Chinese sociologist Fei Xiaotong writes, familiarity is an intimate feeling that develops from repeated and frequent interactions over a long period of time. A character in the first line of Confucius's Analects describes this process of interaction. That character is xi, which means to practice. If we combine that character with the character xue, which means to meet unknown things for the first time, we get the word xuexi, which means to learn. First, we encounter, then we practice. And through that process, the unknown becomes familiar. To reinterpret Fei's words, we all have to go through that first year on campus many times through our lives. I had wanted to skip right past all that so-called wasted time of being a little bit stupid, but I couldn't. Being a little bit stupid was integral to the process of later becoming a little bit smarter. I obviously didn't come to any groundbreaking new understanding of China, but over time, I've slowly begun to understand bits and pieces of the economic and social structures around me. Like, for example, how Fei's interpretation of rural society forms the foundation of much of today's development policy. Sophomore year rolled around, as did my second year here, and I still made lots of mistakes. I realized that Fei's definition of familiarity referred to traditions and relationships built over thousands of years, not a few years on campus or a few years in China. So whether we're on campus or in China or elsewhere, we only have one choice. We can continue to encounter, to practice, and to learn. Thank you.